I have a breaking news input coming in. I'm going live full frame to the pictures from Canada, where any point of time now, I'm told Justin Trudeau could be resigning. Viewers, within a year of taking on the Indian government, he has such rising discontent over his leadership that I have reports that Justin Trudeau will be resigning, and this was expected about 4 minutes back. That is the door where he's supposed to come out from, and he will be resigning as the head of the Liberal Party. There will be no head of the Liberal Party then, and the Conservatives are going to sweep the elections. His popularity rating is really, really low. It's in the 20s. In fact, less than 25% of Canadians believe that he should be re-elected. The only party that had been backing Justin Trudeau, which is Jagmeet Singh's New Democratic Party, pulled out support, and that was a huge setback for him. And Jagmeet announced that he was ready to declare a loss of confidence in his government. And then Justin Trudeau's own party members lost confidence after Trump's 51st governor of US remark. Remember, Trump put down Justin Trudeau by introducing him as Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada. Trudeau had gone to seek Trump's help. Trump, in fact, ended up mocking him. And ladies and gentlemen, all of this is happening principally as a one-year rollout of the impact that taking on the Indian government has had. Justin Trudeau is a pro-Khalistani politician who thought that taking an anti-India line, a pro-Khalistani line, a pro-Khalistani terrorism line would help him hang on to power, and that was his clear intent. And Justin Trudeau is this really privileged, elitist figure. Many people compare him to leaders from the Vadra Congress here in India, who's been an absolute disaster as a leader. Today, we are waiting for the live announcement of his resignation. This is going to be a moment I would say, where many Indians will consider themselves proven right. And Justin Trudeau's record has straightforward, ladies and gentlemen, been that of a pro-Khalistani leader. In recent times, ladies and gentlemen, we have an announcement there. I think he will be coming any time now. They are preparing for his resignation announcement. I think my producers will tell me anytime which guests I have live with me. And that's coming up in a minute. And Shiv Bhaskar is with me. He's president of the Overseas Friends of India, Canada. He's live from Ottawa. Shiv, you're expecting this announcement soon now? Any last-minute thoughts ahead of the formal briefing?
Be announcing fairly soon. He's waiting to come out, and I believe he's gonna resign as a leader of a Liberal Party, and maybe not as a Prime Minister. So he will be in the interim as a Prime Minister and attending the President of Trump, his inauguration on January 20th. So that will go on in the meantime. I think he'll leave a legacy behind, where he was a Prime Minister for 9 years. And, in the beginning, he did bring his Liberal Party into, first time when he won it with a majority, and the second time when he got a minority, it was a more of a challenging situation. And since then, his popularity has gone down tremendously. And the Conservatives, if an election was to happen today, Conservative would get a major majority right now.
But if he quits as, he's going to be coming out. If he quits as head of the Liberal Party, what does that make him in effective terms? I mean, is lame duck Prime Minister?
Well, basically what will happen, that will allow for the party to start the process to have its leadership convention. So they will start the process. There's like rules that they have to follow, and they will elect a new leader, and for that they need to go certain processes, which I'm not totally familiar with. But that's why, and then they're going to prorogue the parliament until I believe March 24th, and that will give them some opportunity at that time to run their leadership convention, and it'll be a very short one, very quick one. It doesn't give you a hell of a lot of time. And then they will have a new leader, and then they probably will call the election. And then Liberal will have a new leader who will be representing in the next Prime Minister election as a Prime Minister face.
And what about the Khalistani lobbies? Where do they stand right now? He's been so strongly pro-Khalistan.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something that is going to be remembered very nicely. He has totally destroyed the relationship between India and Canada because of that. And I think there was too much noise there. It's really a non-issue as far as economy of Canada goes, as far as, building relationships with the other countries goes. It was a lot of noise. And I think that's.
I think Trudeau's coming out right now. Let's listen in.
Sure.
So I thought it might be fun for us to do this again. Bon matin. Every morning I've woken up as Prime Minister. I've been inspired by the resilience, the generosity, and the determination of Canadians. It is the driving force of every single day I have the privilege of serving in this office. That is why, since 2015, I've fought for this country, for you, to strengthen and grow the middle class. Why we rallied to support each other through the pandemic, to advance reconciliation, to defend free trade on this continent, to stand strong with Ukraine and our democracy, and to fight climate change and get our economy ready for the future. We are at a critical moment in the world. Mes chers Canadiens, à chaque matin, je me suis réveillé en tant que Premier ministre, inspiré par la résilience, la générosité et la détermination qui nous caractérisent si bien en tant que Canadiens. C'est ce qui me motive à chaque jour où j'ai le privilège de servir dans ce poste. C'est pourquoi, depuis 2015, je me suis battu pour ce pays, pour vous, pour renforcer la classe moyenne. Pourquoi nous nous sommes mobilisés en tant que Canadiens pour se soutenir les uns les autres pendant la pandémie, pour faire progresser la réconciliation, pour défendre le libre-échange sur notre continent, pour notre soutien inébranlable de l'Ukraine et de la démocratie, et pour lutter contre les changements climatiques et préparer l'économie de l'avenir. Nous traversons vraiment un moment critique dans le monde. My friends, as you all know, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians, I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. And the fact is, despite best efforts to work through it, Parliament has been paralysed for months after what has been the longest session of a minority parliament in Canadian history. That's why this morning I advised the Governor-General that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. Over the holidays, I've also had a chance to reflect and have had long talks with my family about our future. Throughout the course of my career, any success I have personally achieved has been because of their support and with their encouragement. So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. Mes chers amis, comme vous savez, je suis un fighter. Dans mon fort intérieur, je me suis toujours battu parce que je me soucie profondément des Canadiens. Et je serai toujours motivé par ce qui est dans le meilleur intérêt des Canadiens. Et le fait est que malgré tous les efforts déployés pour passer à travers, le Parlement est paralysé depuis des mois, après ce qui a été la plus longue session d'un Parlement minoritaire dans l'histoire de notre pays. C'est pourquoi ce matin, j'ai rencontré la gouverneure générale pour lui faire savoir que nous avions besoin d'une nouvelle session du Parlement. Elle a accédé à ma demande et la Chambre sera donc prorogée jusqu'au 24 mars. Pendant le temps des fêtes, j'ai également eu l'occasion de réfléchir et d'avoir de longues conversations avec ma famille quant à notre avenir. Tout au long de ma carrière, tout le succès que j'ai eu personnellement est dû à leur soutien et à leurs encouragements. Donc hier soir, au souper, j'ai partagé avec mes enfants la décision que je partage avec vous tous aujourd'hui. J'ai l'intention de démissionner de mon poste de chef du Parti libéral du Canada et de Premier ministre une fois que le parti aura choisi son prochain chef à l'issue d'un processus national, rigoureux et compétitif. Hier soir, j'ai demandé au président du parti de commencer les étapes nécessaires. Le pays mérite un choix clair et réel lors des prochaines élections. Il est devenu évident pour moi que si je dois me concentrer sur des batailles internes, je ne peux pas être la meilleure option lors de ces élections. Le Parti libéral du Canada est une institution importante dans l'histoire de notre grand pays et de notre démocratie. Un nouveau premier ministre et chef du parti portera les valeurs et les idées du Parti libéral dans la prochaine élection. J'ai hâte d'observer le déroulement de ce processus dans les mois à venir. Nous avons été élus pour la 3e fois en 2021 pour renforcer l'économie après la pandémie et faire progresser les intérêts du Canada dans un monde complexe. Et c'est exactement ce que je vais continuer à faire, ce que nous allons continuer à faire pour les Canadiens. The Liberal Party of Canada is an important institution in the history of our great country and democracy. A new Prime Minister and leader of the Liberal Party will carry its values and ideals into that next election. I'm excited to see the process unfold in the months ahead. We were elected for the 3rd time in 2021 to strengthen the economy post-pandemic and advance Canada's interests in a complicated world. And that is exactly the job that I and we will continue to do for Canadians. Merci beaucoup, mes amis.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now go to questions, starting with Laurence Martin, Radio-Canada.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. Vous vouliez le faire, ce combat contre Pierre Poilievre. Des batailles internes, il y en a dans votre parti depuis.
Okay, so that's the official announcements. You're going to have Q&As right now. Let me get in some analysts in. Peter Kuznick, Director of Nuclear Studies at the Institute of American University at Washington. Peter, expected lines? Some said he would quit only as Liberal Party chief, but he's also quit as Prime Minister. When did his luck begin to run out, in your view? Did he have any options left?
Well, his luck started to run out when Trump got elected, but it ran out much more strongly when the pandemic hit. You have to put this in a global context. And it's not as if Trudeau is somehow an aberration. What we're seeing across the world right now is a reaction against almost all incumbents, but especially more liberal or social democratic incumbents. And what people are opting for is more conservative, more right-wing governments. I think they're going to regret it. There's going to be a vast buyer's remorse. But what's happened recently, especially with Chrystia Freeland's resignation and Donald Trump's victory, is that Trudeau came to Mar-a-Lago and groveled. Trump mocked him. Trump mocked Canada. And that was an insult on top of the other issues. They've got real issues. They had problems with inflation, but those seem to have largely subsided now. Inflation is under 2%. They had serious problems with dealing with the pandemic. They had pretty strict policies, and the public has reacted against that. They did open the door to immigration, and that was partly in response to what Trump was doing. So when Trump cracked down, Trudeau, I think, in a very positive way, opened the door. But what we've seen over and over again is that that policy ultimately backfires because right-wing populists are able to exploit it. And it happened in Canada as well. So in some ways, Trudeau is paying the price for having done a lot of good things, but
he's got a bit of a, I don't know about image, but I don't know, maybe we in India look at it particularly from the perspective of his having been one of the greatest supporters of Khalistani terrorism, and that is our skew. That's how we look at it. You see, Jeff, I'd like to go to Jeff Bellinger next, who's joining us, I think, from Toronto. Jeff, how are you viewing this? We in India are looking at this as good riddance to a Prime Minister who was clearly pro-Khalistani terrorists from our perspective. How is it being viewed there?
This is a great day for Canada. The Canada that I remember 10 years ago before Trudeau is completely different than the one I know today. Our country is poorer, our country is dirtier, our country is more dangerous, our country is in need of a comeback. And so I think this is a fantastic news for the country. Time will tell about what happens next in terms of how the Liberals decide to replace Trudeau in what fashion. But this is great news for the country. Not only is Trudeau he didn't even get to go to the ballot box. He is getting pushed out by his party. It's a humiliating end to his premiership.
Rakesh Tiwari is a journalist based out of Brampton. Rakesh,
Yes.
Will this change the policy of the government or the Ottawa's policy regarding Khalistani groups?
I will say it has started a bit prior to that. You can say that since last 2-3 years, his whole time period was like that. When you talk about the Khalistan, so the legitimate questions was raised by Indo-Canadian community, and he has disregarded it. His father was known for bringing the multiculturalism in 1984 and bringing the Charter of Rights. And so I will say the Indo-Canadians who are living in Canada, they are not only Indo-Canadians, and majority of the immigrants, they were siding with the Liberals up to a time. But this time, anybody and everybody is, as my previous person has said, that everybody is happy. Put it this way, this uncertainty is over now. Now we know that Justin Trudeau is, as is disliked by his own caucus member as well. So he was prolonging as much as possible. But I think he couldn't bear anymore. But I will totally agree with this point that 16th of December, when Chrystia Freeland, who was the deputy prime minister, as well as the finance minister, she was known as Justin Trudeau's strongest hand. She was always by his side. And when he threw her away, that was his going down towards the hill.
He's literally taken on everyone. I wonder who he is not taken on. In the last 16 months, we were calculating since he he became this irrational kind of person. He had a grudge against Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Behaves very badly. Made a lot of enemies, virtually took on every group out there. Anis Faruqi, how do you view this? Anis, he's a journalist based in Canada. Anis.
Arnab, basically I agree with my friends that Canada is happy that Mr. Trudeau, who was not performing well, is no more from Canadian point of view. It has nothing to do with any external factor of Khalistan or Modi ji or anything. Liberal Party was recently like a house of cards falling apart, and
but he was using what he perceived to be a battle with India. He was using it to position himself.
On the foreign front, yes, but this is not the cause.
No, from a political
it
domestic front, I meant. Let me get Shiv on this. Wasn't he doing that, Shiv? Was Justin Trudeau not using his sort of fight with the Indian government, fight with Modi, to position himself to get Khalistani votes, to appeal to certain sections in Canada?
Yeah, if you look at his foreign policy, I think he miserably failed with not only with India, but also with China, and also with the United States, and also with Saudi Arabia. I mean, the relationships that we had previous to Justin Trudeau with those countries was much, much better. And then, for whatever reason, I don't think he understood the bigger things of the foreign relations, the international trade. And the funny thing is, Canada is a trading nation. We export almost 80% of everything we make. So that should be first. I don't think he put Canada first, and he started putting his personal, whatever, if he did like somebody, his personal interest first. And I think that was his downfall. And once he dug that hole, especially with respect to the Khalistani issue, he went further and further, and he didn't know how to get out of it. And that's made situation, not only like Canadians knew what he was doing, even the world didn't know what to expect from Canada and what their stand was. So this confusion actually hurt us in good standing all over the world, and also in relation to when we were negotiating trade agreements. I mean, a North American Free Trade Agreement was a great, great trade agreement. And then when he came in, when Trump was there first time, he opened it, and he squeezed out a lot of benefits in his favor. Now he's saying the same thing. I'm going to come in. I'm going to put 25% tariff on all Canadian goods, and when Justin went to see him, and he referred to him as a governor, that's an insult. So I agree with what the panelists have said, is that this guy, as far as foreign policy went, international trade goes, it was not, beacon to be held up. He was probably the worst, I would say, prime minister as far as international trades went.
Absolutely. Well, I think Rakesh wanted to come in there. I'm very keen, Rakesh, to get a sense of how this is going to be viewed by the Indian community in Canada.
They will be in much more relief, I will say that, because we were facing, our temple attacks, and, those people who appreciate India, they are proud of coming from India, and they are living here. So they are very, very happy in that way, because let me say that on 4th of June 2023, when late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's whole thing, cargo was going on, and he has not condemned it, while his opposition leader, Pierre Poilievre, has condemned it. So Indian community is going to take, will be very, very happy, Indo-Canadians who are here. I will say that, since the beginning, his situation became a bit, I will say, imbalanced during the COVID period, because when he was giving the payment to all the Canadians. And even that time I really thought about it, when in 2021 he has declared the midterm election. There was no need, he didn't get anything. Over $500 million Canadians has to pay for the midterm election for his own gain. And he was in another scandals too before about his minister. Plus, during the COVID period too, when he was giving all the students, he was giving the money through his one of the business partner, you can say, where he was actually with the legal, framework. He was put in that way that he has a conflict of interest. His finance minister at that time, if I'm not wrong here, Bill Murrow, has resigned as well. And the organization where he got problem with the WIN, where his mother was going and giving the lectures, he has put, I think, if I'm not wrong, in $90 million or $100 million. That was the issue. But definitely, let me say that Indo-Canadian, or every Canadian, wherever I go, being in media, people say, Mr. Tiwari, when Justin Trudeau is going down, when Justin Trudeau is going down. So everybody, I will say, all the Canadians, they are going
Jeff,
to be happy.
Okay, Jeff, quick word from you. What happens in the transition now in Canada?
We don't know. That's going to be up to the Liberal Party to decide about how they choose their next leader. All that we know is that the House is prorogued, the House is suspended until March 24th, after which we'll see if the Liberal Party can make some sort of deal with the Socialist NDP to prop them up, or whether there'll be a quick vote of non-confidence and we're plunged into an election. It's going to be up to the Liberal Party to decide how they choose their next leader. There's going to be lots of infighting. I think it's every step the Liberals take from here on in is a step into a rake. It's not going to get better for them. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, it won't help them in the election. So we are seeing a complete political change coming up in Canada. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that. And as I come to the end of the debate, let's record and summarize with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Justin Trudeau's resignation marks the inevitable end of a leadership tarnished by plummeting approval ratings, internal party discord, and growing public dissatisfaction, with his ally Jagmeet Singh pulling out support some time back, escalating corruption scandals, and worsening economic crisis from skyrocketing housing costs to rampant inflation. His departure reflects the collapse of his political credibility and the urgent call for change in Canada's governance. Ladies and gentlemen, and there you have it, the precise reading of the debate in a simpler format using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night and goodbye.